Welcome back to Revealing Biblical Truths. Before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share, and turn on post notifications so you can see future videos as soon as I post them. In today's video, we'll be going through the book of 2 Kings, chapters 1 through 5. After the death of Ahab, Moab rebelled against Israel. Ahaziah fell through a lattice in his upper room and was sick, and sent messengers to go to ask Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether he would recover. The name of Baal-zebub means Lord of the Flies or Filth, and in the New Testament he is known as the King of Demons. But an angel told Elisha to go meet the messengers and say, "Are you asking Baal-zebub because there isn't a God in Israel? You will not come down from where you've gone up, but will surely die." Then Elisha left, and Azariah asked the messengers why they turned back, and they told him the story, and he said it was Elisha. And Azariah sent a captain of 50 men up on a hill as he sat there, and the captain said to the king to come down. And Elisha said, "If I'm a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from heaven and kill you and your 50 men. Then fire came down from heaven and consumed them. So Azariah sent another captain and another 50 men, who said, "The king said to come down." So he said, "If I come down, fire will consume you again." So it happened again, where fire destroyed them. So the king sent a third captain and 50 men, and the captain went up and fell on his knees, and said, "Please let me and my men be precious in your sight." And the angel of Yahuwah said to Elisha, "Go down with him, and don't be afraid." So he went down. And when Azariah went down, he died, and Jehoram reigned in his stead. And when Yahuwah would take him up into heaven by a whirlwind, that he went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Elisha said to Elisha, "Stay here, for Yahuwah has sent me to Bethel." And Elisha said he wouldn't leave him. So they both went to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets there asked Elisha, "Don't you know that Yahuwah will take away your master today?" And he said, "I know, but don't talk about it." And Elisha told Elisha to stay there, as he was to go to Jericho. But Elisha wouldn't leave, so they went to Jericho. And the same thing happened again at Jordan. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets stood afar off, and Elisha and Elisha stood by the Jordan, and Elisha took off his robe and wrapped it up, and laid it on the water, which split the river in half, and they went over on dry ground. And Elisha asked Elisha what he would do for him before he leaves. And Elisha said, "Let a double portion of your spirit be put upon him." And Elisha said, "This is a hard thing, but it will be done." And as they went on, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and it came down between them. And Elisha went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha rent his clothes, and took up the robe of Elisha, and also smote the waters, and Elisha went over them again on dry ground. Now let's pause and think about this verse for a minute. It says Elisha went up into heaven. In the Hebrew here, the word is shamayim. It could actually mean heaven where Elohim was, but that word can also just mean the sky. Yahusha also said in John 3:13 that no man has ascended into heaven except the Son of Man who came down from heaven. And we know that Yahusha cannot lie. Therefore, Elisha could not have gone into heaven where Elohim was. He had to have been taken up high in the sky and then came back down on another place. We also see that Elisha wrote a letter to Jehoram, and this was after he was taken up into the sky in 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 12, proving that he did not come to heaven, but he came back to earth to continue his ministry. Also in Hebrews 11, it says that all of these patriarchs died in faith, not having received the promise, that is, eternal life, yet. We also see him reappear at the Mount of Transfiguration. His appearance here could simply be his soul brought up from Sheol, Abraham's bosom, just as Samuel was when Saul called him up with the witch of Endor, and not his eternal resurrected body. But anyways, continuing, when the sons of the prophets saw that Elisha was at Jericho, they said the Ruach of Elisha did rest on him, and they thought that maybe Elisha was on top of some mountain or in a valley, so they sent 50 men to look for him, but couldn't find him. And the men of the city said, "We have no water." So he went to a spring of water and cast salt in it there, and said, Thus says Yahuwah, I have healed these waters. There shall not be any more barren land here from now on. And the waters were healed. And as he was going to Bethel, there were children who mocked him and said, Go up, you bald head. So he cursed them in the name of Yahuwah, and 2 female bears came out of the woods and killed 42 of them. Do not mock Yah. And then he went to Mount Carmel and then Samaria. Now Jehoram the son of Ahab reigned in Samaria for 12 years, and he wrought evil. But he did put away the image of Baal his father made, but he cleaved to the sins of Jeroboam. Now Mesha the king of Moab was a sheepherder, and gave King Ahab 100,000 lambs and 100,000 rams with wool. But after Ahab was dead, Mesha rebelled against Israel, and Jehoram numbered Israel, and sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, saying, Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me to battle against him? And he said, Yes, I will go up. And he asked which way we should go. And he said, The way through the wilderness of Edom. So they went there 7 days, but there was no water for them or the cattle. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not a prophet that we can ask Yah of this? And one of the servants said, Elisha is here. So they went down to him, and he said, Go to the prophets of your fathers and your mothers. But they would not please him. But he said, I wouldn't necessarily seek you out, but bring here a minstrel. And when they brought the minstrel and he played, the hand of Yah came upon him. And he said, Make this valley full of ditches, for you will not see wind or rain, but this valley will be filled with water, for you and your cattle, so they can drink. And he will deliver the Moabites into your hand, and you will smite every fenced city, and fell every tree, and stop the wells, and mar every piece of land with stones. And in the morning, when the meat was offered, the water came. And when the Moabites heard that they had come to fight, they gathered all they could to stand in the border. And when they saw the water and the sun shining on it, it looked red like blood, so they thought they had all died. But they came to the camp of Israel. But Israel rose up and smote them. And Israel did all that Yah commanded concerning the land, the trees, and the cities. And when Mesha saw the battle was sore, he took with him 700 men to break through, but couldn't. And then he took his eldest son and offered him as a burnt offering. And then they left and went back to their own land. Now there was a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets, who cried, saying, My husband is dead, and he feared Yah, and a creditor has come to take my sons to be servants. And Elisha said, What do you want me to do? What do you have in the house? And she said, I don't have anything except a pot of oil. So he said, Go borrow as many vessels as possible, and bring them. And when you come in, shut the door, and your sons shall pour oil into the vessels, and set aside the full ones. So she did, and the oil was multiplied, so that she came out and told Elisha, and he said, Go sell the oil, pay your debt for you and your children, so they can live. And this reminds me of when Yahusha multiplied the wine at the wedding feast into vessels. And oil and wine were symbols. Oil was used for lighting the menorah and also anointing, while wine was symbolic of his blood and atonement. When Elisha passed to Shunem, who urged him to eat bread, there was a woman, and she kept saying to her husband, He is a man of Elohim. Let us make a chamber and bread and table, a stool and a candle for him, and maybe he will come stay. So he did come stay, and he laid there. And he said to his servant to call this woman. So she came, and he said, You have done all this for me. What do you want me to do for you? She said, She has no child, and her husband is old. And he said he would have a child, and she did conceive and bear a son. Now when this child was grown, he went out to his father in the field. But he said to his servant, Carry him back to his mother. So he did, and then he sat on her until noon, and died. And she laid on him on Elisha's bed, and shut the door. And she asked for Elisha to come again. Then she got a donkey, and told the servant to go, and she came to him on Mount Carmel. And when he saw her coming, he told his servants to go meet her, and asked her how everything was going. She caught him and said, Didn't I desire a son? Then he told his servant to take his staff and go, and don't let anyone stop him in the way, and to go to the child, but put my staff on his face. And she went with him. So he laid the staff on his face, but nothing happened, so he returned to Elisha. So Elisha came to the house and went into the room and shut the door and prayed. He laid on him and put his mouth to his mouth, his eyes to his eyes, and hands to his hands. And the child sneezed 7 times, and then opened his eyes. So he called the woman, and she fell at his feet, and took up her son and went out. And Elisha came to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were with him. And he said, Put some pottage in a pot for them. So one went to the field to get herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered the gourds, and came to put them in the pot. And they ate it. But as they ate, they said, There is death in this pot, and they couldn't eat it. So he said, Bring in flour and put it in with the pottage. And after that there was no harm in the pot. It is implied here that he did a miracle to purify the herbs. And there came a man from Baal-Shalisha, who came and brought Elisha bread of the firstfruits. This must have been just after Passover, on the day of firstfruits. And he said, Give it to the people so they can eat. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was an honorable man, but he was a leper. There was an Israelite captive in Syria, who was Naaman's wife, who said, If the prophet were here, he would heal him of his leprosy. And the king of Syria sent a letter to the king of Israel, with 10 talents of silver, 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 clothes. And the king rent his clothes and said, Am I Elohim that I can do this? And Elisha heard it, and said, Let me prove that I am from Elohim. Naaman came with his chariot and horses, and went to Elisha's house. And he sent a messenger, saying, Go wash in the Jordan River 7 times, and you will be clean. But Naaman was angry, and went away and said, Maybe he will come out to me, and call on Yahuwah, and strike his hand to heal me. We have rivers in Damascus that are better than these. So he left in a rage. And his servants said, My father, if the prophet has told you to do some great thing, wouldn't you have done it? So why not then just wash yourself and be clean? So he relented and went down and dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan River, and he became clean. So he returned to Elisha, and said, Now I know that there is no Elohim in all the earth but in Israel, and wanted to give Elisha something, but he refused. So he pardoned him, and he went out of the house to Naaman to worship and left. But Elisha's servant thought that he should have been given something, so he chased after Naaman, and he made up this story. 2 men from the sons of prophets needed clothes and asked for money. So he got the money, clothes, and gave them to the servants. But when he came in, Elisha asked, Where did you come from? But he lied and said he didn't go anywhere. So Elisha said, The leprosy of Naaman will cleave to you and your seed forever. And the servant went out as a leper, white as snow. And this ends the video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, Shalom.